already quite a challenge. Hook your hands. Crazy. Let's keep going, I'll tell you more about it in a bit. Pretty much done. Just got the guy lines to put on now. It's been a faff in the wind and the cold, but we're getting there. Hello everybody, welcome to another of Bushcraft Dave's gear reviews. Today I'm going to be reviewing and putting up and using and giving you my honest opinion of what I think about it. The Eurohike Cairns 2 DLX tent. A couple of reasons I bought this tent. First of all, I'd been kind of on the lookout over the winter, thinking ahead for next year, that I wanted to get myself in a position where I would buy a brand new tent, but I wasn't really bothered about it being a good one. So when I was looking online in the January sales, I got this tent and another one which you'll see in a future tent review. I got this for, it would have been about £25. It does say it retails at around about 100. I don't think they're ever actually that price, but I got this for about 25. I saw them online yesterday at £29 on Go Outdoors, and various other websites are available. Come on. Right. So this is the Eurohike Cairns 2 DLX. What's it say here? Flame retardant, 2000 hydrostatic head, and the Nightfall trademark, which I'll briefly show you in here as well. So the inner tent is a blackout tent. So if you were considering using this for festivals and things like that in the summer, this should protect you from that early morning light when you need to get asleep. Although I imagine it does get quite warm in there during the day. But hey, let's have a look. Inside, we've got a small ground sheet, which can There's little hooks in the corner, so I could just open that up, and I will do potentially later on when I'm cooking. So here it is. It took some putting together. It's probably taken me an hour altogether. There's ventilation underneath there. It's going to be windy tonight, so hoping we don't get blown away. I need to do the same on this side. Just a little flap with some Velcro on the underside of there, just to keep it open. You can see on the other side, hopefully there's a little bit of a draft and ventilation. So I bought this one just because I wanted to have another tent, and this one's pretty cool because it's much bigger. So if you saw my other tent review, when I was reviewing the OEX Bobcat 1, it was only a one-man tent, and there wasn't really much space for my gear, even though the Bobcat does have a little bit of space in the front. Whereas this one is a two-person tent. It's got a little front porch area as well, so in a way similar to the Bobcat 1. I feel like I've got a lot more headroom than I would have in the Bobcat 1 tent. So I can sit in here, a little bit of protection from the rain. Yeah, it has got also this inner tent. It's called a Nightfall inner tent. What I'll maybe try and do later on is, when I've got myself set up in here at night time, I'll get my lantern and stuff on in there, and sort of we can try and see if from the outside it masks some of the light coming out, and hopefully that'll give us a bit of an idea of what it's like on the inside. But yeah, it took a while to put up. I think that's always kind of the case with new tents, as you sort of, I mean, it's brand new out of the bag. It's a lot heavier than my Bobcat 1 tent, but it's not too heavy. I will put in the here how much it weighs, bagged. But it wasn't really about necessarily being for lightweight backpacking or anything like that. I've come in my car today. I've got like lots of stuff to have a comfy night's sleep. It is going to be probably 0 degrees tonight, so it is going to get cold, and we'll see how this tent stands up, because it's supposed to be windy, a bit wet. A pretty good test for it really, to see how it gets on. But this is the Eurohike Cairns 2 DLX tent, and what I guess we'll have to do, you've seen me put the tent up, we've had a bit of a chat about it. I guess the next thing to do is really have a bit of a chat in the morning and let you know what I thought of the tent, see if there's any quirks and stuff like that that is worth having a little chat about. But other than that, I'm kind of impressed so far. For 29 quid, I'm pretty happy with it. Yes, it was a bit of a faff to put up, but they kind of always are, I find, of these kind of tents. Maybe if I eventually at some point decide to get myself something like a Hilleberg or whatever, maybe they are like super amazing to put together and dead easy, and you're not having to cripple yourself bending poles and stuff. But you know, the Bobcat 1 was like that when I first got it, and it's less so now. So maybe that's just the case with this, that everything needs to have a little bit of a chance to be pulled and breathe a little bit more. I'm going to get the rest of my bed set up for the night. Those of you that have watched one of my previous videos where I did a camp and a cook and stuff like that, you'll have already vaguely seen this tent, and you'll see what I've done in it. If you've not watched that video, give it a watch now and have a look at my overnight camp, cooking up hopefully a very nice beef stew. I've not had it yet, I've not cooked it yet. It could be a disaster. Why don't you check that video out and see what you think. But yeah, I'm all set up, guy lines are in, pegs are down, we're ready. I need to go and get myself settled down for the night, and I'll see you in the morning with any thoughts about this tent to let you know about. Night night all. So that's the effect of the blackout, because I've actually got the main door open into the tent, and you can see as we come round, the light comes through loads. Lovely stuff. Morning everybody. I wouldn't say it was the most comfortable night's sleep I've ever had. I tried getting comfy, but I just couldn't make it work. It is actually daylight outside. As you can see, you can see the effect of being inside this blackout part of the tent. I would have had no idea at all. I'm still having to use my lantern to light in here because there is no daylight really coming in. So inside there's a little velcroed flap which will let you have some air coming in, and you can just about see there's a little loop on that side and a little hook on that side, so you can open that up and let a little bit of ventilation in, which is pretty cool. And you can see the effect of the blackout. There's a little hook for your lantern. Inside the tent we've also got a couple of pockets at each end, and there's also, I didn't see this before, so just like on the Bobcat 1 tent that I've got, there's a nice little pocket there that allows you to keep the door out of the way, tucked in. Well, hello everybody. It was a hard night's sleep, I've got to be honest, and that wasn't the tent's fault. The weather was ridiculous. It was, I mean, obviously we've seen all the storms and stuff that have been in the news over the course of the last few weeks, and this video will come out a bit later than those storms, but it was right in the middle of, I don't know, Storm Eunice or Florence or Gerald or whatever they're called. It was a bonkers night's sleep. It was freezing cold outside, but I have to say, inside the tent, it was lovely and warm. I had the right gear, I had my down jacket, base layers, all of that stuff. I was absolutely roasty toasty inside the tent, and the tent stood up to the challenge of the extreme cold and the extreme weather as well. So the storm was blowing during the night. It was giving the tent a good buffeting and knocking around, but the guy ropes, the tent itself, absolutely held firm, with no issues whatsoever. It wasn't without the fabric flapping in and out against my head, but considering it was raining and stormy, I didn't end up with any issues on the inside of the tent at all. You know what? I'm really, really impressed with the tent, considering I bought it for around about 25 quid, because I got it with an extra 10 or 20% off. I'm not sure how much it'll be retailing for at the minute, but it's certainly one that has been online for about 29, 30 quid, something like that. To get a tent like that for 20 odd quid, to just have as an extra little tent that you can use, I definitely would recommend it as a festivals tent, because on those sunnier nights it's going to keep the sun out as you're recovering from the night before, or you're wanting to get an early night shut-eye. It will keep out the sunlight. It is comfy. It will hold up to some poor weather if you need it to. You know, it's not the world's best tent, but for 29 quid I'm very, very happy with it. So that is the Eurohike Cairns 2 DLX tent. Really, really impressed with it. So that's another review from Bushcraft Dave, and I hope you'll join me on one of my many adventures or another one of my reviews in the near future, and we'll see you in the next one. Where I was reviewing the